Let me talk to you for a moment, not to who you pretend to be, but to who you really are when nobody's watching. That quiet voice inside you that says, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe this is as far as I can go. That voice didn't come to guide you, it came to limit you. And today, we are not entertaining it anymore. Every single one of us has felt weak at some point. Weak in faith. Weak in discipline. Weak in confidence. That feeling sneaks in when things don't move fast enough, when doors stay closed, when effort doesn't immediately turn into results. But here's what you must understand. Weakness is not who you are. It's what you're experiencing. And experiences are temporary if you refuse to live in them. You were not created to shrink when life applies pressure. Pressure was designed to reveal what's really inside you. Gold doesn't panic when it's put in the fire. It becomes more valuable. And you, my friend, are no different. The problem isn't that you feel weak. The problem is that you've been listening to that weakness as if it's telling you the truth. This conversation today is about drawing a line between who you've been settling for and who you were designed to become. It's about learning how to silence that inner excuse maker and replace it with disciplined faith and action. Because the moment you stop feeding your weak feelings is the moment your strong future starts responding. So sit up, lock in, and listen closely, because by the time this message is done, weakness won't be your identity anymore. It'll just be a reminder of what you overcame. Weak feelings are not life sentences, they are signals. Too many people treat a moment of doubt like a final verdict on who they are and what they can become. You feel tired, you feel afraid, you feel uncertain, and suddenly you start speaking as if that feeling has the authority to define your future. But feelings change. They rise, they fall, they come and go just like the weather. If you don't make permanent decisions based on temporary moods, you'll begin to understand that weakness is not a destination. It's a message asking you to pay attention. That feeling of weakness is often showing you where growth is required. When your body feels weak, it's a sign it needs rest, discipline, or training. When your mind feels weak, it's usually because it's been fed doubt instead of truth. When your spirit feels weak, it's often because you've been disconnected from purpose. None of those signals mean quit. They mean adjust. They mean learn. They mean get stronger in this area. But people misinterpret the message and walk away from their calling, their goals, and their potential because they assumed the feeling was a command. Here's the truth you need to hear. Strength is not the absence of weakness. Strength is the decision to move forward despite it. Every successful person you admire has felt exactly what you're feeling right now. The difference is they didn't negotiate with that weakness. They didn't sit down and make it comfortable. They acknowledged it, learned from it, and then took action anyway. Weak feelings lose their power the moment you stop treating them like instructions. You cannot wait until you feel confident to act. Confidence is a result, not a requirement. You act first, and confidence catches up later. If you sit around waiting to feel ready, you'll be waiting your entire life. Readiness is built by showing up when you don't feel like it, by taking steps when your knees are shaking, and by speaking life when fear is whispering lies. That's how strength is developed, through obedience to growth, not obedience to comfort. So the next time weakness shows up, don't panic. Don't label yourself as incapable. Ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Then respond with discipline instead of emotion. Respond with action instead of excuses. Because when you learn to interpret weakness correctly, it stops being a barrier and starts becoming a blueprint. And once you understand that, weakness no longer controls you, it sharpens you. Let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. Comfort feels good, but it is dangerous. Comfort is quiet, familiar, and predictable, and that's exactly why it slowly steals your potential without you even noticing. When you get comfortable, You stop asking questions. You stop pushing boundaries. You stop doing the hard things that once made you grow. Comfort doesn't announce itself as an enemy. It disguises itself as peace, rest, and being realistic. But if you stay there too long, it turns into a prison you built yourself. Think about this. Nothing you admire in your own life came from comfort. The lessons that shaped you came from struggle. The strength you have now was born in moments when you didn't feel ready, when you were scared, tired, or unsure, but you moved anyway. Comfort tells you to wait until conditions are perfect. Growth tells you to move even when you're uncomfortable. And life always rewards movement, not excuses. When you choose comfort, you choose familiarity over possibility. You choose what you know over what you could become. That's why so many people stay stuck, not because they lack talent, but because they fear discomfort more than they fear regret. Discomfort asks something from you. It demands discipline, sacrifice, and patience. Comfort asks nothing, and that's why it gives you nothing in return. Here's the hard truth. Your weak feelings love comfort. They thrive in it. Comfort gives fear room to talk, doubt space to grow, and excuses a place to rest. But the moment you step into discomfort, waking up earlier, working when you don't feel like it, saying no to distractions, staying consistent when results are slow, that weak voice starts to lose its power. Action suffocates weakness. Discipline starves doubt. You don't become strong by waiting to feel strong. You become strong by doing strong things while you feel weak. That's the lesson comfort never teaches. Comfort delays growth, but discomfort accelerates it. Every time you push past what feels easy, you're sending a message to yourself that you are in control, not your emotions. One day, comfort will ask you for a price. It will cost you the life you could have lived. So the question isn't whether discomfort is hard, it is. The real question is whether you're willing to pay the price of staying the same, because growth lies just outside comfort. And that's exactly where your next level is waiting. There comes a moment in every person's life when you have to make a decision about your past. Not whether it happened, because it did, but whether it gets to keep speaking into your future. Too many people wake up every day carrying yesterday like a life sentence, as if mistakes, failures, and missed chances were written in permanent ink. They are not. They are chapters, not the whole book. And the truth you need to understand is this: what happened to you or what you did back then does not get the authority to define who you are becoming today. Your past is a place of reference, not a place of residence. You can visit it to learn, but you were never meant to live there. When you allow old regrets to dictate your confidence, you give power to moments that are already over. That's like letting a closed door decide where you're allowed to walk next. Life doesn't work that way. Growth demands that you release what no longer serves the person you are trying to become. One of the biggest traps people fall into is confusing memory with identity. Just because you remember failing doesn't mean you are a failure. Just because something didn't work before doesn't mean it won't work now. You have more knowledge, more experience, and more strength than you did then, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. Feelings are temporary, but truth is permanent. And the truth is that your value didn't decrease because of a bad decision or a tough season. You have to learn how to forgive yourself. Not because what happened was okay, but because you cannot move forward while dragging shame behind you. Shame keeps you stuck. It whispers that you don't deserve better, that you should stay small, that you should be grateful for less. But that voice is lying. The fact that you are still here, still dreaming, still wanting more, is proof that your story isn't finished. Here's the reality. Everyone you admire has a past they had to outgrow. Nobody arrives at success clean, confident, and complete. They arrive after failure, rejection, embarrassment, and doubt. The difference is they stopped letting those experiences define them. They made a decision to stand up one more time than they fell down. So stop asking your past for permission to succeed. It doesn't have the authority. Today is a new opportunity to rewrite how you see yourself. When you decide that your future deserves more influence than your history, everything changes. You don't deny where you've been. You just refuse to stay there. And that decision alone is powerful enough to change your life. Fear doesn't disappear because you wait long enough. It disappears because you move toward it. Most people think fear is a stop sign, but it's not. It's a signal that something important is on the other side. The mistake we make is assuming fear means danger, when most of the time it simply means growth. Fear gets loud when you're about to change levels. It shows up when you're about to try something you've never done, become someone you've never been, or leave a version of yourself that feels familiar but unfulfilled. Here's the truth. Fear feeds on hesitation. The longer you stand still, the bigger it looks. The more you think about it, the more power it gains. Fear loves imagination because imagination can exaggerate consequences that don't even exist yet. You start creating worst-case scenarios, rehearsing failure before you've even attempted success. And before you know it, fear had convinced you to sit down when life was calling you to stand up. But the moment you take action, any action fear starts losing oxygen. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to be willing. Willing to take one step even when your hands are shaking. Willing to make the call, submit the application, start the discipline, speak the truth, or walk away from what's holding you back. Action interrupts fear's speech. Fear can't finish a sentence when movement shows up. Confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence is built by action. Every time you do the thing you were scared to do, you prove something to yourself. You prove that fear doesn't control you. You prove that discomfort won't kill you. You prove that you are capable of more than your emotions try to convince you. And once you prove that to yourself a few times, fear starts showing up quieter and quieter. Understand this as well. Fear never goes away completely at higher levels. It just changes its language. There will always be a next version of fear waiting when you step into a bigger calling. But now you'll recognize it. You'll know it's not there to stop you. It's there to confirm that you're moving in the right direction. If you weren't growing, fear wouldn't bother showing up. So stop waiting to feel ready. Ready is a feeling that rarely comes. Action comes first. Clarity comes second. Confidence comes last. Do it afraid. Move while uncertain. Speak even if your voice cracks. Because every step forward shrinks fear and expands you. And one day you'll look back and realize the thing that once terrified you became the very thing that introduced you to your strength. Discipline will take you places motivation will never carry you. Motivation is emotional. It comes and goes depending on how you feel, what happened yesterday, or who believed in you this morning. Discipline doesn't care about your mood. Discipline doesn't wait for the perfect moment. Discipline shows up when you're tired, when you're discouraged, when nobody is clapping for you. And that's why discipline is stronger than motivation. See, weak feelings love to negotiate. They say, start tomorrow. Rest a little longer. You deserve a break. Or, it's not the right time. Discipline doesn't negotiate with weakness. Discipline gives instructions. It says, get up anyway. It says, do the work even when it hurts. It says, finish what you started. And the people who change their lives are not the most motivated, they're the most disciplined. You don't build confidence by waiting to feel confident. You build confidence by doing the uncomfortable thing repeatedly until it becomes normal. That repetition is discipline. Going to work on your goals when nobody sees you, that's discipline. Saying no to distractions while others are being entertained. That's discipline. Staying committed when progress is slow, that's discipline. Motivation might spark the fire, but discipline is what keeps it burning. Here's the truth most people don't want to accept. Your future doesn't respond to how badly you want it. It responds to what you do consistently. You can want success with all your heart and still never touch it if your habits don't line up. Discipline is the bridge between desire and results. Without it, dreams stay ideas and goals stay unfinished plans. Weak feelings lose their power when discipline enters the room. Fear can't stop disciplined action. Doubt can't survive consistent effort. Laziness gets exposed when discipline becomes your standard. The days you don't feel like showing up are the exact days discipline matters the most. Those are the days that separate average from exceptional. Discipline also teaches you respect self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, you start trusting yourself again. And once you trust yourself, weak feelings don't get to run your life anymore. You stop asking, "Can I do this?" and start saying, "I do this." That shift changes everything. Understand this. Discipline is not punishment, it's self-love in action. It's choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. It's deciding that your future deserves more than your excuses. And the more disciplined you become, the quieter your weak feelings get, because weakness thrives in inconsistency. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, stop waiting to feel ready. Build discipline. Do the work. Keep the routine. Honor the process. Because motivation will hype you up for a moment, but discipline will change your life forever. Pain is one of the few things in life that treats everyone the same. It doesn't ask who you are, where you come from, or how prepared you think you might be. It shows up unannounced, interrupts your plans, and tests your patience. But here's the lesson most people miss. Pain itself is not the problem. The problem is how you respond to it. Pain can break you. Yes, but only if you let it. The very same pain has the power to build you into a stronger, wiser, and more disciplined version of yourself. When pain first arrives, it feels personal. It feels unfair. You start asking questions like, "Why me?" or "What did I do to deserve this?" But pain is not a punishment. It's a process. Life uses discomfort as a teacher because comfort doesn't create change. If everything stayed easy, you would never grow. You would never develop strength, patience, or resilience. Pain forces you to pay attention. It exposes weak habits, fragile mindsets, and emotional shortcuts you've been relying on. Some people allow pain to harden them in the wrong way. They become bitter instead of better. They shut down, blame others, and use their struggles as an excuse to stop trying. That's how pain breaks you, when you replay it in your mind without learning from it, when you let it convince you that your story is over. But breaking is not inevitable. It's a choice made slowly. Every time you refuse to extract a lesson from what you're going through, others take that same pain and do something different with it. They ask better questions. Instead of "Why me?" they ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" They understand that pain is temporary, but quitting can become permanent. They use disappointment to sharpen their focus, failure to refine their strategy, and rejection to strengthen their faith in their abilities. That's how pain builds you, by pushing you to levels of mental toughness you didn't know you had. Pain also builds character when you stay disciplined during hard seasons. Anyone can stay positive when things are going well, but growth happens when you keep showing up even when motivation is gone. Pain teaches patience. It teaches humility. It teaches gratitude for progress, even when progress feels slow. Over time, you begin to realize that the things you once prayed to escape are the same things that prepared you to succeed. One day you'll look back and understand that pain didn't come to destroy you. It came to introduce you to your strength, the version of you that survives hardship with integrity, consistency, and faith is far more powerful than the version that never struggled. Pain will always give you a choice to fold under pressure or rise with purpose. And the moment you decide to rise, pain stops being an enemy and starts becoming a builder. Confidence is not something you wake up with one morning and suddenly feel forever. It is not magic, talent, or luck. Confidence is built the same way muscles are built, through repetition, effort, and showing up even when you don't feel like it. Most people think confident people never doubt themselves. That's not true. Confident people just learn how to move forward while doubt is still talking. You don't become confident by waiting until you feel ready. You become confident by doing the work while you feel unsure. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, something changes inside you. Every time you show up on a bad day, your self-respect grows. And self-respect is the foundation of confidence. When you constantly quit on yourself, your mind remembers that. But when you stay consistent, even in small things, your mind starts to trust you. Let me make this clear. Confidence is a byproduct. It comes after action, not before it. You don't run because you're confident. You get confident because you ran yesterday and the day before that and the day before that. Consistency sends a message to your brain that says, I can rely on me. And once you believe that, fear loses its grip. Most people lose confidence because they keep restarting. They get excited, go hard for a week, then disappear for a month. That cycle destroys belief. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means commitment. It means doing something even when it feels small, even when nobody notices, even when results are slow. Those quiet days are not wasted. They are building something solid. Your feelings will lie to you. They will tell you to stop, to rest too long, to wait for a better time. Consistency ignores feelings and follows principles. And when you operate by principles instead of emotions, confidence becomes inevitable. You start walking differently. You start speaking differently. Not because you're trying to impress people, but because you've proven something to yourself. Understand this. Confidence grows in private before it shows in public. It grows when you wake up early and nobody claps. It grows when you practice while others sleep. It grows when you choose discipline over comfort. And one day people will call you confident, strong, fearless, without knowing how many times you wanted to quit, but didn't. If you want to kill the weak feelings inside you, stop looking for motivation and start building consistency. Stack small wins. Honor your word to yourself. Keep showing up. Confidence will meet you there every single time. Confidence is not something you wake up with one day because you finally feel ready. Confidence is something you earn by repeatedly doing what your weak feelings beg you not to do. Most people are waiting to feel strong before they move. But strength doesn't come first, movement does. Every time you show up when it's uncomfortable. Every time you keep your word to yourself. When quitting feels easier, you are depositing into your confidence account. And just like money, you can't withdraw what you never invested. Weak feelings will always give you logical excuses. They'll tell you it's not the right time, that you're tired, that you need more preparation, more approval, more proof. But confidence doesn't grow in perfect conditions. It grows in repetition. When you do the work on the days you don't feel like it, your mind starts to understand something powerful. You are in control. That realization alone begins to silence fear. Consistency is where belief is built. You don't suddenly trust yourself, you prove yourself reliable. When you say you're going to wake up early and you do it, when you say you're going to practice and you show up, when you say you're going to try again after failing and you actually try again, your self-image changes. You stop seeing yourself as someone who talks and start seeing yourself as someone who does. That shift is everything. Confidence is also forged through patience. Results may not show up immediately, and that's where most people fall off. They confuse slow progress with failure. But slow progress is still progress, and every step forward, no matter how small, is reinforcing your identity as a disciplined person. The more consistent you are, the less power your emotions have over your actions. You stop being led by how you feel and start being guided by who you're becoming. Let me tell you something important. Confidence doesn't remove fear. It teaches you how to move with it. You will still feel doubt, nervousness, and uncertainty, but they won't control you anymore. Why? Because you've already proven that your actions don't depend on your emotions. That's real strength. That's maturity. That's growth. And here's the truth most people never hear. The strongest version of you is built quietly. No applause, no validation. Just discipline practiced daily. When you keep going long enough, confidence becomes automatic. You no longer question if you can do it. You know you can because you've already done it before. That's when weak feelings lose their authority, and that's when your future starts responding to the person you've consistently shown yourself to be.